Where is my focus going? I can always be upset over something. Do you prefer to focus on your history, present or future? We all spend all three. But where do you spend most of your time? Most achievers tend to focus on the future. Yet despite all the joys of the present, the majority of people spend a lot of time in the past, which you can change. You're continually focused on what's missing rather than what you have. You're fixated on what you can't control. And there are two worlds, right? The exterior world and the psychological world are both beyond our control. We have the ability to alter it. We can control what happens inside of us as well as what we focus on. We have influence over the meaning. We are the ones who create meaning, and we have the authority to make decisions. And once we make those three decisions, we have influence over our lives. And all of the tension and nonsense seems to go, especially if we are attempting to serve something greater than ourselves. Because you can't serve someone other than yourself and not benefit. When you want to boost your self-esteem, do something good that benefits more than just you. We are all aware of the two emotions that can destroy a relationship, a business, or even your life. It's a combination of terror and wrath. Pose the two extremes. He cannot be appreciative and afraid at the same time. He cannot be both angry and appreciative. But when you look at someone like Steph Curry, you see this guy who can shoot the ball from nearly half court. He does not even glance. He turns around and simply waves, knowing that it has already arrived, and he swishes, and the crowd goes insane. And people look at that and say, he is fantastic. He is fantastic. He's the best three-point shooter in history. There is no one like him. But what they don't realize is that this isn't just a small gift. He takes 500 photographs every day, never less than that, 7 days per week. He has been doing this for more than 15 years, beginning before he was in college. His father had given him much training. So think about it. 3,500 shots a week, 168,000 shots per year, and 2 million shots throughout his 15-year NBA career. So he can make 3,600 shots, which is less than 1/10 of 1%. I teach them that you are rewarded in public for what you practice privately. I believe everything happens for a purpose. I believe there is a higher purpose. I believe it is my responsibility to locate it. I believe that life happens for us, not to us, but it is our responsibility to figure it out. You'll have to deal with both internal and external issues. But if you keep going, you will finally defeat your dragons, and you emerge out as the hero of your own life, with something to say that isn't garbage. This is not something you read someplace. It's something you've experienced, something you desire, and everyone can tell because it's a different degree of ownership, you know? By the way, every time you do that, it happens again. You know, you call for another voyage, you need to take on a new, higher level of difficulty. You know, it never stops, but it makes life really wonderful. How can people be so hard on themselves, learn to boost their self-esteem a little more? I'm not sure whether self-esteem is the answer, but I think it's okay to be hard on yourself as long as you enjoy your victory. But as many people will tell you, I have low self-esteem because when I was a youngster, people said this and that to me, and it's easier to recall those things than the great things that happened, obviously. But I believe it is more vital to recognize that self-esteem is earned, can only be gained by you and yourself. You're not going to gain self-esteem because everyone compliments you. You can be told throughout your life that you are smart, genius, beautiful, and handsome. And you will not believe it. Someone can tell you that you're a piece of junk and will never amount to anything. And there's a party you can mention and I'll show you how many people have attended. And then they develop and drive out of it, correct? So in essence, self-esteem stems from doing extremely difficult tasks that need you to push yourself. It is not virtue signaling. It is not telling others about it. It's what you feel in your soul is true, and the more difficult things you do, especially those that are significant, meaning they're not just about you, the higher your self-esteem will be. I believe that the most important thing for self-esteem is to find something you care about more than yourself. If you find anything that is more important to you than yourself, you will only think about yourself all the time. And your entire self-esteem will be lost. The fundamental question is, what do you want? If you wish to lead an incredible life, my definition of that is life on your terms. Some folks see 3 gorgeous children and a white picket fence. Some believe it is creating a multi-billion-dollar business. Someone else is creating poetry instead of looking for someone else. Which makes you wonder, what do you truly want out of life? And committing to pushing forward in pursuit of your true goals. If you can do that while also feeling like you're helping others, you'll have a sense of purpose in life that cannot be replaced by self-esteem, praise, compliments, or being nice to yourself. And I don't think it's wrong to be severe on yourself. I'm pretty hard on myself. I will be honest with you. Overly harsh self-criticism is frequently manifested by creating illogical comparisons. You're comparing your life to someone else's who has a completely different path and experience. We all develop at different phases and in different ways. We all desire various things, but eventually you realize you need to be strong for yourself. But beating yourself up saps your energy. And when your energy levels drop, you produce less and do not have the same amount of joy, impact, or excitement that you desire. So I see it as something worth doing to boost your own self-esteem, but it isn't the secret. The answer is to find something else to concentrate over more than yourself, and you have a level of energy that will compel you in the long run. I started with the fuel, which was, I'm gonna show it was rage that motivated me. I'm simply going to show you something, but that fuel doesn't last. The next fuel that people commonly employ is, I have to succeed. But there's a tiny dread below that drives them. Like, what if I don't? Instead of knowing, you know that if you give your all every day, your gifts will make room for you, and it's like knowing that everything will be fine. Then there's the next level in which you begin to understand who you are and stop attempting to prove it to yourself or others. And you just want to assist. It's the distinction between what I'd call push motivation and pull. Right? Push is, I'm going to make this happen. And it requires enormous willpower. And I know you have a lot of willpower. I do as well. Willpower, however, has a limit, whereas pulling does not. Pull is when you want to serve something spectacular, something you're obsessed with, either creating, doing, or making happen. And it means you don't lose that energy or those components. And you can laugh and enjoy yourself along the way. I believe it is critical to understand that wherever focus goes, energy flows. It's corny, but true, right? In fact, perhaps a simpler way to put it is that we do not experience life, neither of us do, we live the life that we focus on. So at any time, what's wrong is available. So is what is correct. So it's not about being optimistic. It's about intelligence. You have to consider the impact of your beliefs and ask yourself, where is my focus going? There's always something to be upset about. I can always find something to celebrate or be grateful for, which leads to joy. And I believe it is learning to discipline your disappointments, not allowing them to develop, and to go on with whatever life has given you. You may create basic patterns and transform your entire existence. A focus minute is when you focus on something and your brain must decide what it means. Meaning is what generates emotion, and feeling is fundamental to your life, correct? As a result, the quality of your life is determined by the state of your emotions. We all have a habit of focusing on what we have and sometimes on what we need. Which do you believe most people spend their time focusing on? What do they have? What's missing? You can arrange your life to be happier, but I believe the actual problem is thinking so little about being taken seriously simply represents your fears, right? It's as if when people talk about spiritual development rather than religious development, they mean the level of ease you may have with simply being yourself. And I believe that's not a simple assignment since we are all trying to be something, yet we've already been that something. That doesn't mean you can improve, but accepting and appreciating who you truly are rather than projecting something else takes a lot of pain out of your body, a lot of wasted energy out, and causes a lot of fears to vanish. And I don't have an easy path to that. I believe that is the hero's journey. How do you feel? If I work my ass off today, I will have done my part. Okay, come through me and let's do this. And it tends to flow. Life happens to me, or I happen to life. But life occurs to me. Yes. Is that to me? Yeah, is an excellent reframe. Yeah. That's what I genuinely believe. But you have to dig for it. It's not easy. It must be earned, right? Similarly, wishing for confidence without expertise is an illusion. You have no evidence to support your claim that you can do this. If you want freedom, if you value freedom, you cannot have it while playing the victim. None of this defines who you are. None of this affects where you are in life. Have you ever had a horrific experience in your life? I mean, that was painful. You would not want to go through it again. 1,000,000 years. You wouldn't want someone you care about to go through it. But 5 or 10 years later, you look back and think, I never wanted to go through it again. But now I understand the wisdom in it. I'm delighted it happened. It's like it made me care a lot more. It made me much stronger. It heightened something within me. I mean, I'm sure you can relate to that, right? Yes, for sure. I mean, you don't understand it simply life until you learn a little more about yourself and realize, well, look at all of the ways I've had to compensate for that. Consider all of the ways it has held me back. Look at all of my beliefs about myself. And God, if that hadn't happened, I'd be here or there. And then you realize, well, the bright side of all that darkness is typically what I'm most proud of myself for. Yes. So that you, perhaps being alone in childhood means that you are quite self-sufficient as an adult. Alternatively, the fact that you did not need someone to assist you implies that you are unconcerned about working for yourself, continue to gamble on yourself, and so forth. So you wind up with this odd loop where you moved from unconscious incompetence in that you've somehow progressed from something you despise to an awareness of how it's held you back, to an understanding of how it's propelled you, and then you have to go to this incredibly tough place, which is fun. So this is something I kind of wish had not happened. Nevertheless, I'm thankful that it happened. And it's like a psychological superposition that you have to hold in your mind at the same time. It cannot be collapsed into one. You must hold both of these items. It's like, yep, that is terrible. Like, that shouldn't have happened. Like, I truly hope that, and if you had been able to see you, how could you at 36 have seen you at 12? You'd have lifted them up and hugged them, saying, I believe in you, and you don't deserve this, but it's meant to happen to you. Now, I don't believe that everything is intended. I believe situations are meant to be, and it is our responsibility to decide how we will utilize or be used by them. Right? I believe that is the difference. But I believe that we experience both easy and difficult times. Why is this important? It is extremely serene if you have completed the task from the beginning, because you now know who you are. You've got an amazing wife.